There's a substance you consume every single day. Your body craves it. You die without it in weeks. Empires were built on it. Wars were fought over it. It was once worth more than gold. And yet, you probably have a container of it sitting in your kitchen right now, worth about $3. But there was a time, tens of thousands of years ago, when no human being on Earth knew this substance existed. When the very idea of flavoring food was unimaginable. When the chemical that powers every nerve impulse in your brain was completely unknown. This is the story of how we found it. How ancient humans, driven by hunger, curiosity, and pure accident, discovered the compound that would change our species forever. This is the story of salt. Before we journey back 50,000 years, do me a favor. If you're fascinated by the hidden history of everyday things, the moments that changed humanity without us even realizing it, hit that subscribe button. Because every week, we uncover the forgotten stories behind the ordinary. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. Now let's go back, way back. East Africa, 50,000 years before the pyramids, before agriculture, before cities, writing, or civilization as we know it. A band of about 30 humans moves through the savannah. They're not so different from us. Same brain capacity, same potential for language and abstract thought. But their world is utterly alien. They know stone, they know fire. They know which plants heal and which kill, but they've never tasted salt, not deliberately, not as we know it. The hunt is successful. An antelope. The group gathers, and what happens next is crucial to our story. The first hunter slices the femoral artery and drinks deeply. The warm blood runs down his chin. The others wait their turn. To us, this seems savage, but this wasn't brutality. This was biochemistry. These humans were experiencing an intense, undeniable craving. Their bodies were screaming for something. Sodium salt. Our ancestors didn't know the chemistry, but they knew the feeling. After days of eating plant matter, fruits, and roots, animal blood provided something their bodies desperately needed. That metallic, savory taste. That was sodium chloride, salt. Watch her, the elder. She's seen 60 seasons, ancient by their standards. She's separating specific organs, the kidneys, the liver, the blood-rich heart. These aren't random choices. Through countless generations of observation, her people learned that certain parts of an animal satisfied the craving better than others. They didn't know about salt concentration, but they knew the taste. They knew the satisfaction. That night, as organ meats roast on the fire, their blood-salted surfaces caramelizing, something is happening in every cell of every human around that fire. Sodium and potassium ions are dancing across cell membranes. Nerves are firing, muscles are contracting, brains are thinking, all powered by salt. But here's the problem. This source of salt is unreliable. Hunts fail. Days pass without meat. And during those days, the craving. 3 days of unsuccessful hunting. The group survives on roots, berries, and insects. Protein, yes. Calories, yes. But almost no salt. By the 3rd day, symptoms appear. Fatigue, muscle weakness, headaches. The nursing mother by the stream feels dizzy. Her infant cries, her milk production is dropping. This is hyponatremia, sodium deficiency. In severe cases, it's fatal. The craving is no longer subtle. It's consuming. Every member of the band feels it, a gnawing emptiness that food doesn't satisfy. This is the evolutionary pressure that made salt precious. Not cultural, not economic, biological. Our very cells demanding what they need to function. And so, driven by necessity, humans learn to track not just animals, but salt itself. The young hunter sees it. Dozens of tracks, antelope, zebra, elephant, all converging on a single point. Not a watering hole, something else. He follows. The older hunter beside him knows where they're heading. He's been here before, learned from his father. They emerge into a clearing, and there it is. A salt lick. Exposed rock, white and gray, worn smooth by thousands of tongues over thousands of years. Elephants are there now, tusks scraping at the deposit. This is a revelation moment. The hunters have known about these places. Follow the game, you find them. But something clicks in the young hunter's mind. This is what the animals come for. Not water, not food, this rock, this white-streaked stone. He waits for the elephants to lumber away, then approaches, kneels, touches the rock. His finger comes away with white powder. He tastes it. That taste, he knows it immediately. It's in the blood, it's in the kidneys. It's the thing his body has been screaming for. But this is pure, concentrated, powerful. For the first time in human history, someone is harvesting salt, not taking it incidentally from meat, not drinking it in blood, but collecting it, deliberately, as a substance in its own right. The return to camp is triumphant even without game. The elder examines the white powder. She tastes it. Recognition floods her ancient eyes. She takes their evening meal, roasted tubers, bland and fibrous, and sprinkles the powder on it. The transformation is instant. Eyes widen, sounds of pleasure. A child reaches for more. This is flavor. This is what they've been tasting in blood and organs, but clearer, stronger. This moment, this exact moment, is when humans become salt-seeking creatures. Not just salt-needing, salt-seeking. The difference is everything. That night, Belle is full of salted food. The camp sleeps deeply. The nursing mother's milk flows freely again. The headaches fade. Strength returns. And in the morning, the decision is made. They will return to that place. They will gather more. They will stay near it. Human settlement patterns are about to change. Not because of water, not because of game, because of salt. Southern Africa, 20,000 years later. The Ice Age grips the northern hemisphere, but here, along the coast, life continues. A different group of humans has made the ocean their home. They're not here by accident. They're here because the ocean is a pantry that never closes. Shellfish, seaweed, stranded fish, abundant, reliable protein. But they're also here, though they don't consciously know it, because of salt. Every shellfish they eat, every bite of sea vegetable, every drop of ocean spray that lands on their food, it's all delivering salt directly to their bodies. These coastal people don't suffer the salt craving like their inland cousins. The ocean provides. But then something changes. Curiosity, innovation. The defining traits of our species. The old fisherman sees the tide pools. He's seen them 1,000 times. But today, under intense sun, he notices something different. White crust on the rocks, thick, crystalline, where the water has evaporated. He tastes it. The flavor explodes on his tongue, the essence of the ocean concentrated, pure salt. This is a different path to the same discovery. Inland humans found salt in rocks, following animals. Coastal humans found it in evaporated seawater, following their own observations. He scrapes the crystals into a large shell, returns to camp. The reaction is immediate. The women recognize the taste from ocean spray, but this is different. This is harvestable, storable. One woman sprinkles it on dried fish, another on roasted roots they've traded from inland groups. The transformation is magical. But a young girl is watching with different eyes. She's seen this happen before, naturally, in the tide pools, and she's thinking. Days later, she's doing something revolutionary. Creating shallow depressions in flat rocks near the shore, artificial tide pools. The tide comes in, fills them with seawater. The tide goes out, the sun does its work, the water evaporates. And salt remains, thick, pure, abundant. This child has just invented salt farming. She doesn't know it, but she's created technology that will be used virtually unchanged for the next 30,000 years. In some places, it's still used today. Within weeks, the entire community is doing it. Dozens of salt pans, regular harvesting, more salt than they can possibly use. And then comes the next revolution, trade. Inland hunters arrive with their goods, meat, furs, stone tools from the interior. They've heard about the coastal salt. They want it, desperately. Watch this exchange carefully. This isn't barter. This is the birth of value, of commodity, of economy. The inland hunter offers dried meat. The coastal trader considers, shakes his head. The hunter adds a finely crafted spear point, another shake. Finally, the hunter offers a rare leopard pelt, tanned to perfection. The trader accepts. For that much salt, it's fair. Both men walk away satisfied, but something profound has happened. Salt now has exchange value, worth. It can be quantified against other goods. The foundations of economics have just been laid on a rocky shore in southern Africa by people who couldn't count past 20. The settlement grows, word spreads, more salt pans are built. The coastal people are becoming wealthy by their era's standards. They have surplus, they have trade goods, they have power. And that attracts attention, violent attention. A rival band arrives, stronger, more numerous. They want the salt pans, they're willing to fight for them. This is the first war over salt, not the last, not even close, but the first, the moment when a substance became valuable enough to kill for. The conflict is brutal but brief, deaths on both sides. Finally, an uneasy peace. Territory is divided. Some salt pans change hands. As they bury their dead in the sand near the salt pans, something is clear to every survivor. The world has changed. Salt is no longer just food. It's wealth. It's power. It's worth dying for. That night, the elder makes sure every young person knows the technique. How to choose the right rocks, how to time the tides, how to harvest without waste. This knowledge is now precious. It must be preserved. This is cultural transmission at its finest. The technology of salt production, passing from generation to generation, becoming more refined with each iteration. And it spreads. Along the coastline, up and down, other groups learn or independently discover the technique. Everywhere the ocean meets the sun, humans are making salt. The ocean's gift, harvested by human ingenuity. Northern Europe. The ice age is ending, but winters are still brutal. 6 months of the year, nothing grows. Hunting is scarce. Starvation is a constant threat. A coastal settlement clings to survival. They have salt from evaporation during summer, but salt alone doesn't fill stomachs. Summer brings abundance. Fish run so thick you can walk on the water. They catch far more than they can eat. But within days, the surplus rots. The stench is overwhelming. The waste is heartbreaking. A woman stands between two problems, rotting fish and abundant salt. She's thinking, connecting, remembering. Weeks ago, she accidentally spilled salt on fresh fish. The fish that should have rotted by the next day didn't. It dried instead, hardened, and when she finally tasted it days later, it was still good. She understands, salt preserves. She begins with a dozen fish, covers them completely in salt, waits. Days pass, the salted fish transform. They dry, they cure, they remain edible. 2 weeks later, she tastes one. It's different, intense, salty, firm, but it's good. It's edible, it's safe. This is the moment that ensures human survival through winters, through famines, through every season of scarcity to come. This is food storage, food security, the future. The community mobilizes. Every fish from the summer runs is now salted. They develop techniques. Some pack fish in salt, others soak fish in salt brine. Different methods, different results. Storage pits are dug, lined with stones, filled with salt-cured fish, layer upon layer. Then winter comes. The land is locked in ice. The ocean freezes at its edges. Fresh food is impossible. But around cooking fires, families eat. Salt-cured fish from summer. It sustains them. Children who would have starved in previous winters grow strong. The mortality rate drops. Not to zero, winter is still brutal. But families who master preservation have an advantage. Their children survive. Their knowledge spreads. Spring arrives. The survivors are thin but alive, healthy enough to fish, to rebuild, to prepare for the next winter. And the preserved fish, it's tradable. An inland hunting group arrives with furs and meat. They want the preserved fish. It can last them through their lean seasons too. A trade network emerges. Preserved fish flows inland. Furs and tools flow to the coast. And at the center of it all, salt. Sometimes as preservative, sometimes as direct trade good. The smart traders carry both. Raw salt for those who have food to preserve. Preserved fish for those who need food now. Economics is evolving. Value chains. Processed goods versus raw materials. Vertical integration. All the concepts of modern business emerging in prehistoric trade camps. Inland, a hunting group receives salt. A fresh kill is immediately salted. They've learned. The meat that would feed them for 3 days now feeds them for weeks. This changes migration patterns. If food can be stored, you don't have to constantly move to find more. You can stay in one place, build better shelters, develop deeper culture. The first semi-permanent settlements appear. Not quite agriculture, but not nomadic anymore. Enabled by preservation, enabled by salt. And the knowledge becomes sacred. Elders teach the techniques with ceremony, the ratio of salt to fish, the signs of proper curing, how to test if meat is truly preserved or dangerously spoiled. Young people learn through trial and error. Some fish spoils despite salting, not enough salt or too much moisture. They learn, adapt, improve the technique. By the time these apprentices become elders, the techniques have advanced dramatically. Large-scale operations, standardized methods, quality control. This is technology evolution, each generation building on the last, the knowledge base deepening, human capability expanding. And it enters their stories, their mythology, the substance that preserves life, that prevents rot, that keeps death at bay. Salt becomes sacred. North Africa, 8,000 years before our era. This is the Sahara, but you wouldn't recognize it. It's green, wet, abundant with life, and beneath it something is forming that will shape the next 10,000 years of human history. Salt deposits, massive, left by ancient seas and periodic flooding, buried under sand and rock. Nomadic herders move across this green Sahara with their cattle. They've noticed something about their animals. Certain areas the cattle go mad with desire. They lick the earth, scrape at the ground with their hooves, refuse to leave. A young herder investigates, digs where the cattle are most interested. A foot down he hits it, pink white crystals, vast quantities, salt, purer than any rock salt they've found before. He tastes it, understands immediately. His people need this. Other people would trade for this. This is wealth beneath his feet. Within weeks, the entire clan is mining. Crude tools, stone picks, wooden shovels, but effective. They extract massive quantities. Soon they have more than they could use in a lifetime. The question becomes, what do they do with it? The herder who found the deposit remembers. 3 months south, there's a settlement. Farmers, they grow grain, vegetables, but they're far from the sea, far from any known salt source. They must be desperate for it. The journey is brutal. 3 months through increasingly hostile terrain. They load salt onto cattle, the first pack animals used for trade. The trek tests them, rivers to cross, predators to avoid, water to ration, but they persist. The potential reward is too great. When they arrive at the farming settlement, the reception is wary. Who are these strangers? What do they want? Then the herder presents his gift, salt, lots of it. The farmer's eyes widen. They've been trading crops to distant coastal groups for tiny amounts of salt, and here's a lifetime supply. The negotiation is intense. How much grain is salt worth? How many vegetables? What ratio is fair? This negotiation is crucial. The exchange rate being established here will influence trade for generations. Too high and the farmers can't afford it. Too low and the journey isn't worth it. Finally, agreement. For half the salt they've brought, the herders receive grain, dried vegetables, woven cloth, and pottery, goods their clan cannot produce. Both sides are amazed by the value they've received. This isn't just trade. This is partnership, mutual benefit, the foundation of civilization. The journey back is triumphant. They're loaded with goods their people have never seen, but more importantly, they have knowledge, the route, the settlement, the exchange rates. The clan is transformed by these new goods, and the next generation is already planning the next journey. This will become a route, regular trade, an economic lifeline. Years pass, the route becomes established, other clans hear about it, competition emerges, some travel to different settlements creating networks. The salt routes of Africa are being born, arteries of commerce that will pulse for millennia. But the climate is changing, the green Sahara is dying, the lakes are shrinking, the grasslands are turning to sand. Over centuries, the transformation is complete. The Sahara becomes the desert we know, hostile, deadly, impassable. Almost. The salt deposits remain, but now they're in the middle of hell, accessible only to the brave, the desperate, or the brilliant. Desert traders evolve. They learn to navigate by stars, to find hidden water sources, to travel at night and rest in buried shade during the day. And they domesticate the perfect animal for this landscape. Camels, ships of the desert. Caravans grow larger, hundreds of camels, tons of salt, organized by wealthy merchants who never make the journey themselves but reap the profits. The salt trade has become big business. Fortunes are made and lost on these routes. Entire cities rise in the desert as waypoints, sustained entirely by salt commerce. In these desert markets, something remarkable happens. Salt is traded ounce for gold, equally valuable, sometimes more valuable. A merchant weighs salt on one side of a scale, gold on the other. They balance perfectly. The trade is made. Think about that. A substance you can buy for a few dollars today, once worth its weight in gold, not metaphorically, literally. And it's not just commerce, it's cultural exchange. Traders from the Mediterranean, from sub-Saharan Africa, from the Middle East, all meeting in these salt-fueled marketplaces. They share technologies, agricultural techniques, metallurgy, mathematics, stories, and religions. Salt routes become idea routes. Civilization is being stitched together by trade routes, and salt is the needle pulling the thread. Today, we extract 280 million tons of salt every year. It's one of the most abundant minerals on Earth, cheap, ubiquitous, taken for granted. You probably used it today without thinking. Maybe you even complained it was too salty. But that salt on your table represents 50,000 years of human discovery, of observation, of experimentation, of trade and war and innovation. It represents the moment an ancient human followed game animals to a mineral lick and made the connection. The moment a coastal girl invented solar evaporation. The moment a woman realized salt could cheat time and preserve food through winter. The moment a desert trader risked everything to carry salt across impossible distances. Every crystal contains that history. Every grain is a monument to human curiosity and persistence. We pass the salt without ceremony now, but our ancestors fought wars for it, built empires on it, died for it. Salt, the first commodity, the first preservative, the first substance humans learned to extract, process, trade, and fight over. The compound that taught us value, that connected distant peoples, that enabled civilization itself. All in something so simple, so common, so utterly extraordinary. The history of humanity in a grain of salt. If this changed how you see the ordinary, there's so much more to discover. Subscribe for the hidden histories of everyday things.